there lived a man named Ogbuefi. Ogbuefi was a hunter who lived with his two sisters in the kingdom of Amanze. Amanze was a very small village which had been segregated from other neighboring villages because of an age-long rivalry between the former king of Amanze and a very wealthy and powerful king who ruled the kingdom of Ubochi, which was one of the biggest villages in those days. Due to this segregation, the people of Amanze suffered as they barely had enough to sustain their village. There was no trade between Amanze and neighboring villages, and this resulted in the shortage of food supply as well as other necessities in Amanze kingdom. Since the former king of Amanze died, the new king has done everything within his power to broker peace between his village and Ubochi kingdom. But all his efforts have proven futile as the king of Ubochi has vowed to remain a great rival to the Amanze people. One day, Ogbuefi went hunting in the forest and caught sight of a figure. It looked like an animal, but Ogbuefi felt constrained to fire his arrow as he quietly approached the figure to confirm what it was. To his surprise, it was an injured girl who could barely move or speak. "What are you doing all alone in the forest?" Ogbuefi asked, but the strange girl did not utter a word. She was badly injured, so Ogbuefi took her to his hut to tend to her wounds. When Ogbuefi's sisters arrived home that evening, they saw the strange-looking girl in front of their brother's hut and asked him who she was. Ogbuefi narrated the whole story to them and informed them that the girl would be staying with them till he figured out who she was and where she had come from. He suspected that the girl might have lost her memory and wanted to keep her safe, but his sisters were not happy about this. They saw no reason why their brother would accommodate a total stranger in their home, but Ogbuefi refused and insisted that the girl would stay. Few days later, the strange girl finally spoke, but she could not remember her name or where she had come from. Ogbuefi then decided to give her the name Dumebi to make it easy to communicate with her. One morning, Ogbuefi went hunting, leaving Dumebi at home with his sisters. His sisters called Dumebi aside and asked her what she was still doing in their house. Dumebi stuttered as she did not know what to say. His sisters then threatened to kill her if she insisted on living with them. Dumebi was heartbroken and wished she could remember who she was and where she had come from, as the humiliation was too much for her to bear. Ogbuefi returned home late that evening and noticed that Dumebi was nowhere to be found. He asked his sisters if they knew where Dumebi had gone, but his sisters pretended not to know her whereabouts. Ogbuefi began to search around the village as he was worried for Dumebi's safety. He looked around for hours till he caught sight of Dumebi standing next to a palm tree. "What are you doing here?" he asked, and Dumebi explained that she left because she felt like a burden to him and his sisters. Ogbuefi rebuked her for thinking that way and told her to return with him as the village was not safe at night. Dumebi agreed and returned to Ogbuefi's house. His sisters were so furious to see her and decided that it was high time they taught her a lesson. One afternoon, Ogbuefi's sisters waited for Dumebi close to the village stream. They knew Dumebi would fetch water from the stream that afternoon, so they dug a very huge hole in the ground to trap her. When Dumebi arrived at the stream to fetch some water, she heard a scream nearby and rushed to see who it was. She was unaware of the huge hole and fell into it and bumped her head. Ogbuefi's sisters called out her name, but there was no response from Dumebi. "We have killed her," they panicked as they left the stream and rushed back home, pretending as though nothing had happened. Ogbuefi returned home that evening, and Dumebi was nowhere to be found. He asked his sisters, who implied that Dumebi would have probably run away and that he should take his mind off her. Ogbuefi refused and searched the whole village but could not find Dumebi. Few days passed and still Dumebi never showed up. So Ogbuefi had no choice but to believe that she must have gone back home. News then began to circulate that the body of a certain young girl was found somewhere in the village, and Ogbuefi was too scared to check if the body belonged to Dumebi or not. His sisters also discouraged him from checking, and Ogbuefi agreed and never got to check. The young lady's body was later buried, and Ogbuefi lived with the uncertainty as he never got to know if the dead woman was Dumebi or not. Several months later, Ogbuefi received a message from the king of his village, summoning him to his palace. He was so scared as he wondered what he had done wrong to warrant a summon from the king. Ogbuefi immediately rushed to the king's palace and saw a gathering of people at the palace. "What is going on?" Ogbuefi asked one of the people gathered at the palace, and he was told that the king of Ugochi kingdom had finally agreed to be at peace with the people of Amanze kingdom because of one man in the village. Ogbuefi was so happy to hear this, but little did he know that he was the man they were talking about. Ogbuefi appeared before the king, who began to thank him for all he had done to broker peace between his village, Amanze, and the great Ugochi kingdom. Ogbuefi was confused as he did not know what the king was talking about. Immediately, the feared king of Ugochi arrived at the palace of the king of Amanze, and to Ogbuefi's surprise, he saw Dumebi standing next to the great king of Ugochi kingdom. It was then that Ogbuefi realized that Dumebi was the daughter of the king of Ugochi kingdom. Her name was Princess Adaeze. What happened was that Princess Adaeze was set to marry the handsome son of a very wealthy man in their village. Her stepsister, Obianuju, was so jealous and decided to get rid of Princess Adaeze so as to marry the rich man's handsome son. According to their tradition, once a man has declared his interest to marry a princess and done all the traditional rites towards the marriage, he is bound to marry from the royal household. What this implies is that if anything happened to the princess that the man was betrothed to, the man will still be bound to marry the next princess in line. Since Princess Obianuju was the next princess in line, she got some people to get rid of Princess Adaeze. So they beat Princess Adaeze up with some huge sticks and left her for dead in the forest, not knowing that she survived but lost her memory. When she fell into the huge hole the other day at the stream, she regained her memory and went back to her village to meet her father, the king. She told her father how a certain man from Amanzi kingdom saved her life and took care of her till she regained her memory. She pleaded with her father to forgive the people of Amanzi kingdom, and being her father's favorite daughter, her father agreed and decided to make peace with the people of Amanzi. Ogbuefi was so shocked and happy that he helped Princess Adaeze. The king of Amanzi kingdom bestowed upon Ogbuefi the most prestigious title in their village, and this came with it land and several animals and wealth. Because of what Ogbuefi did for her, Princess Adaeze refused to tell her father that it was Ogbuefi's sisters who pushed her into the deep hole, especially as she regained her memory in the process. Ogbuefi's sisters regretted their actions and pleaded with Princess Adaeze to forgive them. She forgave them because, if not for their mysterious plan, she would not have regained her memory as fast as she did. That was how the people of Amanzi kingdom made peace with the people of Uboji kingdom. The lesson to be learned from this story is that when you do good, good will come back to you. Try to be kind to people whenever possible, as that kindness could be the hope that person needs to survive. I hope you enjoyed the story. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It helps us grow our channel. I'll see you in our next story. Bye.